Welcome to the Warren Cycling Podcast. My name is Dean Warren. I'm in Sarasota, Florida today.
And I'm Randy Warren, and I'm in Niles, Michigan.
All right, back in Niles, Michigan, in our hometown, and actually the home we grew up in, at our parents' house. And you've got some events going on up in there again. And wow, we got a few things to talk about. It's kind of the wrap up of the road season. I said that last time, but it's really wrapping up. Although I think the Tour of Guatemala is just starting today. Esports World's coming up. Route announcement for the Tour. All these things we'll talk about. But you've got a picture. We don't have live picture of you. Your camera's still not working. But at least it sounds like you've got internet back in Asheville. So let's start with your picture with Mark Cavendish. So the most stage wins ever in Tour de France history. You got a picture with him from the Hincapie Gran Fondo, which was raising money for the hurricane relief efforts in that area, close to where you live.
Yeah. So we did get internet back, I think, last night for the first time, but in Asheville. But so I will, when I get back, I'll have the internet. That'll be great. But the Hincapie Gran Fondo shifted this year. They decided to still hold it, even though a lot of the roads they normally use aren't usable, so they made a smaller course and made it a fundraiser for Polk County, which is one of the counties that was affected by Hurricane Helene, and that's, since they use that normally for part of the race, they wanted to.
Is Polk County in North Carolina, or is it in South Carolina?
North Carolina, yeah, it's
North
Carolina.
But it starts.
And I rode some of
it goes between both states.
Yeah. Near Travelers Rest is where Hotel Domestique, which is George Hincapie's boutique hotel winery. It's a very nice facility there. So, then it's north of Travelers Rest, kind of close to the border. So we ride a little bit in South Carolina, and then the Grand and Medio routes. I think the Piccolo route normally stays in South Carolina, but the Grand and Medio routes normally go up to Skyuca, which is a very challenging mountain climb, and then Saluda grade, and then to Green River Cove. And I rode Skyuca just right before the Gran Fondo after the hurricane, and it was fine. So you could ride there. It had a lot of wires down and stuff too, but they've been picking those up. But the roads are fine. And then the Saluda grade was damaged for sure. I could ride it though. There was enough road to ride on there. So they were doing a lot of cleanup. I think that one will be probably open to traffic, who knows, in a month or so. But then Green River, oh my gosh, Green River was destroyed in many places. Again, I was able to get through on the bike, but I've had other cyclists say they tried to ride it and couldn't get through. You had to ride through a lot of sand and stuff. And I was on my road bike. It would have been better on the gravel bike for sure. And then one of the switchbacks, and there's a 17 switchback climb, which corresponds with George Hincapie's 17 Tour de France's. So each switchback is for a tour. And but one of them is gone, completely gone. And so they've made a steep little road connector that's like 25% soft dirt that would have been, I had to actually get off and push the bike. So they made a shorter course, and they raised money, and they raised so far, I think, $700,000. Their goal is $1 million, but still $700,000 is pretty good.
That's great.
And, it was fun. So, and the thing is, with this event, it's a different one because there's several thousand people that are there, and then they have other events associated with it. So, a pre-ride dinner the night before, and then a post-ride party, and those are extra. You had to buy extra tickets for those. And normally they raise money for Meals on Wheels for the area, but this year, they always have some celebrities too. And Mark Cavendish has been there before, so I've ridden with him before there. But this year he was there, and Bradley Wiggins was there, and Jan Ulrich was there, and then of course there's Bobby Julich lives in the area.
Yolanda Neff, I think I saw she was there.
Yeah, Yolanda Neff is there. She actually lives part-time in the Brevard area,
right?
And so
she had a bad crash last year
in that area too. Yeah, that's too bad.
She's all recovered now.
I mean, I rode with her some in the event, and I was 14th overall, so she was she was riding strongly and stuff too, and she rides with us on not usually the bakery ride, but she'll ride a different ride on Saturday, but they'll meet up with the bakery ride too. So I see her some Saturdays too. So she has some kind of connection with a local establishment in Asheville. So Applewood Manor, which is actually shifting their business model too. So they're not going to do as much as they used to do with the anyway, cycling things. But so yeah, but she's involved in the community on a regular basis. So we see her around for sure. And it's fun because you see her and she's got the world championship stripes on and stuff too. You're like, oh, that's an actual world champion that's just joining our regular Saturday rides. So it's always fun. But yeah, she was there too. And then Christian Vandevelde. Well, I didn't actually see Christian. And then John Vandevelde was there. He sent me a message afterwards saying, oh, I didn't know you were there. And I'm like, I didn't know you were there. I would like to see John because I haven't seen John for quite a while now. And yeah, he's still, yeah, I've ridden for John, with John since I lived in Chicago. So at least 9 years. But he's a legend, a 2-time Olympian and one of the early pioneers of world racing and stuff. He was a big track racer. So it was fun. Yeah, there's a lot of people there. But I did get to see Bradley and Mark, which a lot of times you don't even get to see the big celebrities. I did not see Jan because there's so many people there and stuff too. And then if you're not paying to be a part of that extra stuff. And actually the post-ride party was only $75. It wasn't that expensive, so I guess I could have done that one. But with all the hurricane stuff going on, I had to get home, and it's a constant tending to the the stuff. It was just endless.
You still got trees all over your yard, right?
Yeah, mostly in big piles now, waiting for someone to come pick them up. So yeah,
we're waiting for yard debris to be picked up in our neighborhood still too. But
yeah,
I guess I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, I mean ours is 10, 15 feet high in the front, and then on the side yard, oh man, it's like 200 feet deep. 15, 20 feet high. Of the ones in front, I've all dragged there, so it's like stuff you can move. But the ones on the side, you can't move. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of stuff. So yeah, so it was good to have an event like that. And it was interesting. I found out some routes that were open to get from Knoxville to the Greenville, because some of the riders I knew were from Knoxville, and they're like, oh yeah, this road was open, because I was going to come up here to Michigan and Chicago for some VQ meetings too, and to ride with the client and stuff. And just finding out which roads are open when to try and leave the area is a challenge. So yeah, but it was good to have an event there, and as people came in from all over the place, and some people didn't have really a clue of anything that happened that was wrong, and then other people were very impacted by the devastation. And it's interesting because I had a friend from England saying, hey, is everything back to normal now? And I'm like, yeah, no, not really. He goes, yeah, it's not in their news cycle anymore, so they haven't seen anything about it for quite a while. But yeah, it'll not be back to normal for a long time.
Right. Well, I guess for public perception, it was the right way for Hincapie Gran Fondo to function in the way to still go on, but to provide a relief effort and not be like, oh, these cyclists are out doing clogging up the roads when we're trying to get them cleaned up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a delicate balance. And Rich Hincapie is actually George's brother, is the one who's president of their company there, and they, I'm sure, consulted with a lot of different people, and yeah, I'm sure they didn't want to really cancel things completely because there's so much goes into planning for this, and there's a ton of expense on their part and stuff too, and then yeah, it was a good balance. It was a good balance because they really honored and they really pushed donating a lot to help the relief efforts, and they were that was very present in people's communications and stuff too. So they did a good job with that. I think they ran it the best possible way they could have. Because if they had canceled it, it would have looked bad. If they would have ran it normal, it would look bad. And this was a good compromise. And actually, I heard some people, because it's one of those events that's a race for the first several hundred people, and then for the next couple thousand people, they're just riding it. But for the racers, they kind of like the circuit race format better.
Oh yeah.
Because it was more of like a real race, and they actually neutralized the beginning, because normally the people, the VIPs, pay a lot of money to get in the front, and then some of those are really good racers, and they just take off and you never see them. And so the best I've ever finished was 11th one year, and I never saw actually the first 3 or 4 guys in that race.
Who finished first this year?
Oh, I had to look and see. Well, Bruce Bird has won it many times, and he was 3rd this year. He's a 50 plus. Actually, it was funny because there's 3 50 plus guys that finished in the top 10, but luckily I was 60 plus, so I didn't have to worry about those guys. But it's pretty competitive though at the front end. But this year, like I said, they kind of neutralized it, and so it made it more compact, and you could actually feel like you could, you weren't out of the race if you weren't starting in the VIP area. So that was kind of nice. So I poorly positioned myself into the first climb, unfortunately, and wasn't in there. But then was with the second group, so it was good.
All right. Well, you came across track. I forgot. I didn't put that around at the the
Oh man,
track
yeah.
world championships were going on, and I'm trying to look at the results now to find out. And I'm on the UCI website, but you just can't get a real.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I kind of looked at what American were doing. So,
yeah.
so Jennifer Valente, they didn't have an Omnium, I don't think, for it. They just had the individual events. So the Olympics has gone to Omnium format, but the World Championships are still using, the scratch race is separate from the points race and that. And Jennifer Valente got second in the scratch race. Lotte Kopecky won. No, not Lotte Kopecky. Demi Vollering. Demi Vollering
Demi
came.
Vollering. Oh, really? I
And she
knew
won.
Lotte Kopecky was trying to become another world champion in it. I mean, she's
Yeah,
already rode in gravel, so she was looking for a track championship.
I think Lotte Kopecky's already won track though. I think she's won
Yeah,
track in the
but I
past.
mean, all at the same time.
All
I
at the
mean,
same time.
all within a month.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but Demi Vollering, she rode an impressive scratch race. She apparently used to ride track quite a bit when she was younger, so she does have track experience. But she hasn't done a ton lately. But she rode a really impressive race. She actually jumped with a lap to go, and Jennifer was on her wheel, and she gapped her. But Jennifer held off at still got second. But still, it was impressive by Demi the power she showed in that last lap too. And I want to say Lotte Kopecky, did she win the elimination race? Maybe she won the elimination race.
Well, actually, I see
Was
an
it
Omnium.
Jennifer was third in that.
I did find the results page here.
Oh.
It
was interesting.
Which one were you asking?
Oh, on the elimination race. I was trying to think who won the elimination race. If Lotte Kopecky won that. So Chloe Dygert, actually, it's an odd set thing there because Chloe Dygert set the new world record, which she already owned, in the individual pursuit. We got the silver medal.
Really?
So because she did it in qualifying. So in qualifying, she had the fastest ride of the day, and then she got beat by a Brit. And I'm not sure even off the top of my head. I'm trying to just remember.
Allie Wollaston won the elimination rate. So you're ahead of Kopecky and Valente.
Oh, okay.
That's an elimination.
Second on that one. Yeah. Yeah, so Valente was through that.
So you're talking about the women's individual pursuit?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chloe Dygert was second. Anna Morris.
Great
Britain won.
Yeah, that was a surprise because Chloe's already won, 4 or 5 individual pursuit world titles. She's won a ton, and she had the fastest time that was ridden. But it was just the way it's done. It's done in a tournament format. It used to be a long tournament. Now it's just like you do a qualifying ride that seeds the top 4 riders, and then the 2 fastest go against each other for the gold medal, and the next 2 go for the bronze medal. But now but it used to be you had to work your way through a whole bracketed tournament. It was a much longer thing. But yeah, so even though she rode the fastest time, she still got second. So, but I think part of the big news is an American. Look at the American men in the.
Okay, I was looking at the women team pursuit because that would be one of our.
We didn't do one. Yeah, we didn't have one. So,
no,
yeah.
I think Great Britain won that. So.
Yeah, it's hard for us to get everybody back together. For world championships.
For the world championships, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And they were multiple world champion in the past, but they just hadn't won the Olympics until this year. So.
Yeah.
But the men's points race, I think we got 4th, if I remember right. So I think there's a guy that got 4th. Is that right? For US.
And points race. Here we go. Sebastian Moore Verdi won. Peter Moore, USA 4th. You're right. Wow.
That's amazing. We have not had a male competitor on track who's done well in a points race. I'm trying to think if maybe since John Vandevelde I talked about earlier. So it's been a long time.
Yeah. So I see there's a time trial as well as individual pursuit. So what's the difference between the time trial and the individual pursuit?
The time trial is the kilo.
Oh, it's a kilo. Okay. They just renamed it. Or is it always called that?
I don't know, maybe, yeah. So.
Okay. Well,
individual pursuit though, Ashton Lambie has won this before, so he's the most recent winner. But he's not now. He's doing sailing. Did you see that? He's doing some kind of sailing thing. But we.
Well, look who won. Did you see who won? Pursuit? Jonathan Milan.
Oh, Milan. No, I didn't see.
Yeah.
No.
And Dan Bingham was 3rd. He's the one that was performance coach and racer for Ineos, but didn't he lead? Isn't he lead?
He's for someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Filippo
Josh
Ganna.
Carlton was 2nd, another Brit. So Italian, and then 3 Brits in a row. Charlie Tanfeld 4th. Yeah.
And Ghana's won that before several times too, but I don't think he was there. So
Brendan Rim was there. He was 12.
ah,
That's
all
pretty
right.
good.
Just
Oh,
the fact that you see
Anders Johnson was 8th. Another
8, right?
American.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was our best finish. That was our best finish,
Yeah.
8th.
All right. Well, it just kind of goes to show. I mean, for us, we like to cover all aspects of cycling, and we'll focus, mostly on road because that's what we like to ride. But yeah, I mean, you do a lot of gravel now too, and so we touch on that a little. Mountain bike, I hardly see much of that, except for when the Americans do really well,
Well,
which
apparently
has
too,
been.
the mountain bike collegiate was supposed to be near Asheville, and so they got canceled, and now it's going to be in Bentonville, Arkansas, in November. So, but it's
Okay,
supposed to be like
rescheduled, not canceled.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
canceled from that venue. So yeah,
right.
yeah.
So yeah, so when it comes to cyclocross, we get more into that because there's not much else going on in the wintertime. But and then track, it's just I know. Yeah, I mean, listen to you because you're very knowledgeable. You were picking out these names like of who did the results, and I'm like searching around to find out. Oh yeah, track was going on. I did see some headlines, but it's not at the forefront. You got to dig a little note for that.
Yeah, Flow Sports did have it on, so I was able to go because when I was, Jennifer Lente's. I mean,
It's one of the best.
yeah, I think we don't give her enough due. She's, world
Yeah,
champion, Olympic champion. She's I think maybe won the most medals of any American ever in track, and she's just phenomenal racer. So I always pay attention to her races because to see if USA will get a win. So I
right.
was able to pick out like the scratch race. I wanted to see that Demi Vollering how she won because read the article, that's one thing, but then you see so much else once you actually watch it. So I was able to search it out on Flow Bikes and pick out during the day because they have the whole session. You have to kind of pick through to see because there's match sprint races and everything else too that take a lot of time. But yeah, it was so you could watch it, but you're right, you had to search it. It
Yeah.
wasn't easy to watch for sure.
Well, if we switched over a little bit to the end of the road season, we talked about Neilson Powless going over racing the Japan Cup, which he won a couple of years ago, and he won again, and it was a nice win, nice competition. But I had to like really search to find any video coverage. I got an Italian like
Oh, did you?
highlights to watch the end, but it sounded like it was a real tactical race towards the end, and he timed his sprint well out of a small group of 4.
Well,
There was
actually,
a 5th rider
he gapped
joined
a little
up.
bit. Did he jump? He jumped early. Is that when he
Yeah, he
jumped early?
jumped like for 300
Yeah.
meters. Yeah.
Same thing. I watched. I think on YouTube I found a little bit of a highlight
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
And it was a
So
tough attacking. Yeah, back and forth. I'm trying to think. Maybe I saw more than just highlights. Was it a long highlights video? Because it seemed like I
yeah,
saw.
it was kind of long highlights. I was actually long enough. I think on the airplane, and I didn't have much time left. I was like, oh, all right, I want to see how he won at the end because I knew
Yeah,
they
I
got
was like, I
away.
remember I
Actually, they
skipped through and I saw. It seemed like they showed a lot of the end. So they showed the
yeah.
attacking
Well, they
at the end.
finished more than 4 minutes ahead of the next
And there
rider.
was
So
a lot of attacking too, right? I think at one point Nilsson
yeah,
got gapped and was slowly brought back, but
yeah,
gapped
yeah,
too, and it was actually fun to watch. Yeah, it was
yeah.
exciting, right?
Yeah, good win for sure. Like he had that Grand Piedemonte win, then strong finish at Il Lombardia. So it bodes well for next year, we hope.
Yeah, yeah. He's really one of the. I mean, he's still what was he 28 now? Is he? He's anyway. He's still one of the people that are the the current crop. He's not like anywhere near the end of his career. He can be some of the peak of the crop for Americans right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. He is 28. All right, turned 28 in September.
Yeah.
So really hitting his really peak years.
Yeah, you'd hope. Yeah, that's not traditionally it would be.
Yeah. What was I'll say about the road? Not much else, I guess. The
Yeah.
next World Tour race is the Santos Tour down under the 21st of January, so some time to go before then. I don't know. I didn't mention that it is podcast number 370 for us. 370. It's the 25th of October, so getting towards the end of October 2024, and the Europe time changes this weekend. So I was just in Frankfurt a couple of days ago. Had a beautiful day. Had a nice long ride, and I was just thinking that, man, next week it'll be dark an hour earlier there, and then for us, a week later, it's going to be our time change, the beginning of November. So if you are riding, you don't have as many daylight hours to get out. But if you're an indoor rider, and you ride on the bike, you might be interested to follow the Esports World Championships this weekend. It's 26th, so tomorrow in Abu Dhabi. I think Teddy Pogacar is going to be there because of the connection with his team in UAE, and he just signed a extension contract too, so he's going to be there.
2030, right, or something like that.
Yeah, he's got 6 more years. 30. Yep, 6 more years, and takes him to only age 32 though, really, which would be maybe towards the end of his top years. So, but yeah, Esports World Championships, 6 Americans are going to be there, and you said they flew them all in. They're going to be there in person. So
In person, yeah.
that's kind of crazy in a way when you think it's designed to be online, where you don't have to be present. But
yeah, I follow Jackie Godby, who races for Triple X Racing sometimes. Right now, she's racing for Saris, but not racing for the U.S. there. But it was a tiered system. You had to go through elimination races, and to pick the top people. So it was, and then the race itself is 3 races.
I saw that, yeah.
Right, and they're short.
They have different names like sprint, strategy,
and climb.
What's the other name of the other? The sprint, the strategy, and all out.
All out, yeah. But they're all short though too. They're not long. And Jackie's a bigger rider, so she's learned how to descend well on the virtual platform. Right, yeah. So that's been a key thing for her, because she has tremendous power output. She's so strong, but then she's disadvantaged because the formulas they use is strength to weight ratio a lot, which is trying to mimic, in real life how.
Sure. I saw someone that was like 8.1 watts per kilogram or something.
Oh Lord, yeah. It's amazing. I mean, I didn't do any indoor racing last year because I had some issues in my house.
Yeah. That's a woman, Gabriela. She's a Brazilian. 8.1 or so. Yeah.
They're not for threshold, but she must be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah,
so it's crazy. Yeah, how strong they are. Any race you do online, and there's even when I've done races where I've done a lot of, you need to validate everything, your trainer, your weight, everything too. So there isn't, the chance to cheat is much less, and you're still amazed at the power people do. It's like, why aren't you winning World Tour races? They're doing World Tour power numbers, but they somehow doesn't translate.
Well, it has produced some World Tour races out of the esports, like Jay Vine for UAE, and Ashley Woolman Moore. I always mess up her back name. Ashley, the South African, right?
Yeah, a couple. I'm not sure who all, but yeah, you can actually earn a spot on some teams. Canyon SRAM, maybe, I think. There's a couple teams that they've taken on some racers just through a qualifying procedure and stuff too. And yeah, their online results. Yeah, usually it's somebody who's already been an athlete at some point and has some kind of cycling background, but sometimes it's just somebody who's like a triathlete who's super strong or something like that, but has no pack skills or anything. So, there's a learning curve once they get to the camps and stuff. But yeah, no, it's a crazy thing. And this year I'm gonna do more again. So I noticed last year I didn't do any indoor racing. I was slower in the spring, although I also had that virus lingering from Italy. So I'm not sure if it was more the virus or more than not doing indoor racing, but my spring started out much slower last year. And so this year I'm going to try and do more indoor. Plus, too, with the hurricane stuff too, I've only ridden one short ride now in the last week. And so I'm maybe taking my time off a little bit earlier, and it might get into the indoor racing more. But it's, they're trying to make it more into a spectator sport, which I'm not sure how many people are going to be there in Abu Dhabi, but it'll be something. And people do, I think we mentioned it before. I mean, there are people that do gamers, that play video games, and they've got stadiums filled with 20,000 people watching these people sit on a stage in front of computers and playing games. And so I guess watching someone ride a bike on a computer is a little bit more interesting maybe than watching somebody sitting in front of a TV. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, but
and like you said, the events are not so long, so the attention span doesn't have to be so great, right?
Yeah, but it definitely favors that kind of rider who's more explosive and short duration than someone who needs to grind it out though too. So,
all right.
I did check real quick. I'm sorry, Diego Ruiz from Bogota. He won the Hincapie Gran Fondo.
Okay.
So, and then Jeff Chase. So Bogota was first place. Jeff Chase from Pelzer, South Carolina, was second place. Bruce Bird, who was the Masters racer, was third place. Who's won that before from Canada. So it was quite the spread.
Wow.
Of people that came to that event.
And that's good. It's bringing in people from all over.
Yeah.
So next month, November, we're looking forward to our annual interview with Alexey Vermeulen,
Yeah.
former Michigan rider, and
Yeah.
just recent winner of big win at Big Sugar win, and yeah, it's always great to catch up with him. So we look forward to next month. You can look forward and mark it down. Sometime we'll talk to Alexey. The big series ended already. I mean, it ended with Big Sugar.
Yeah, but I think Keegan
But it
Swanson
was already pretty much,
uh,
Keegan
race.
Swenson and Sofia Gomez Villafane had already wrapped up their Grand Prix,
I think they had to
the
finish
Lifetime Grand Prix.
but not
Yeah.
do super well. So yeah, I think because Keegan didn't have that good race. He was the 7th or 8th or something, I think. But but Sylvia Gomez, I think did she win? She win Big Sugar. She did well, I think there. So, but that's a big prize list too.
Yes, she did. She won Big Sugar.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the most lucrative prize list for sure this year. But next year,
oh yeah, that's how
the Nebraska World Championship. So the unofficial World Championship, which has been going on for many years. So the UCI one has just been going on for 3 years now. But the unofficial one in Lincoln, Nebraska, that Garmin sponsors, is going to have $100,000 in prize list. So yeah, they're not. It seems like when UCI took it over, they could have either said, hey, you're the real World Championships, we're just gonna become a regular race, or we're gonna double down and say, no, ours is the real one. And so because there is the original one for sure, but not UCI obviously. But and they don't get quite the international crowd that the UCI one gets, but it's more of a real gravel race too.
I was gonna say, because gravel is kind of morphed a little bit different, or kind of transformed a bit, hasn't it?
European gravel is different than American gravel, so American gravel is more gravel. European gravel is like half gravel, half road. Although I did see that the one they're going to Nice in a couple of years, it's going to be like 70 or 80% gravel, so it'll be much more. But it's much smoother there. It's much more like crushed limestone and
like the Strada Bianchi
farm tracks, right? Yeah. But they do have some farm tracks and paths and stuff like that too, so it's a little more technical than Strada Bianchi. But yes, nothing like. And even in America too, the gravel is much different. So the gravel that I do here sometimes is almost more appropriate on a mountain bike. It's super rough. They're big boulders and rocks, not boulders, but big rocks and stuff you're going over, and really, really rough, endless terrain. It's much different than some places in the Midwest. You're riding on dirt roads.
Unbound is dirt roads, right?
Yeah, and so I did the South course, and it was mostly just dirt roads. It wasn't really anything technical except for the mud. That was very technical. You had to get off and run. But they did the North course last year, and I'm probably going to do it again next year too. And that one's more technical. But talking to my athletes who did it this year, they're like, yeah, it has some technical sections, but nothing like, again, the stuff we ride around here for gravel races too. So it's more technical. But if it was, so like the race I did here, the Kershaw Gold race. Last Southeast gravel race, because their Tryon race got canceled because of the Hurricane Helene. That was so hard, and it was like, I don't know, 74 miles, I think, was the longest distance that I did. And it was exhausting because it was just so rough, so long. If you had to do 200 miles on that, you would have, the attrition rate would be incredible. There would be hardly anybody finishing, and it would take people not like 13 or 12, 13 hours for the average person, or not average. That's fast actually.
Yeah.
For the average person, but it would be taking people like 20 some hours to do it. It'd be too hard.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that long on that kind of rough stuff.
Well,
and I guess in Europe too, when they do their gravel there, it creates more pack racing, which is more exciting for the viewer. So I guess that makes it more in line with what they're used to seeing over there anyway. So it's just. Yeah, but anyway, there's more money. Like you said, Lifetime has a big prize list, and people are targeting that. Although they're reducing.
Yeah,
they're not the field, but the field size of people that are competing in the Lifetime series, and they have some wild cards. So after the first couple of events, they're going to allow some more people to get in, and so that's gotten mixed reviews in terms of whether people, because
we could talk to Alexey if we want to about that.
Definitely, yeah. Because I did read some quotes he had about it, so
sure.
Explore that more with him,
yeah. All right, well, I think we can wrap it up here briefly with our birthday list, unless you've got something else you want to touch on. Did we say the Tour de France route announcement coming up? I think the 29th, so next week on Tuesday.
Yeah, now the big news is all the rumors. The rumors.
Yeah, the rumors of the climbs. I think it's Are they going to do Lowe's?
Well, they said the Lowe's, yeah, it's gonna be in it, yeah. Which
And what about the
I find
Mount
that
Ventoux? Is it Mount Ventoux again?
I think I forget what all.
Yeah. All right, we'll find out next week, huh?
Yeah, yeah, because I always remember Lowe's because it was not in the tour for so long, and then I did it in Haute Route
Yeah.
Alps. I think the year that they were introducing it that year was when too.
Yeah.
So it was, and it's a crazy hard climb. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, and I just saw Velo had an article about Vingegaard already training, I guess, getting ready, thinking ahead towards next year to challenge Tadej Pogacar. So
Well, it is tough because, like I said, it's like I'm kind of getting a forced time off the bike right now, and so I'm gonna start, getting ready earlier. But yeah, people like Vindigo and stuff. I mean, their off season's probably over. So they're, it hits November 1st.
For him, maybe, yeah. Some of the others are on vacation still for a little longer.
Yeah, it's and yeah, because he's just targets the tour and then does stuff for spring, to get ready for the tour. So it's different. Yeah, like Pogacar's just finished his his racing with Lombardia. So yeah, it's different for sure.
Yeah. So maybe
one thing we can talk about, we'll talk about sometime later too, is the self-inflating tires.
Oh.
That they use in gravel worlds this year.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a whole new system where it's not used by CO2, it's used by the hub generator to increase the power. So Mariana Vos.
Yeah. Okay.
And she used it during
only for inflating the tires, not for powering the bike.
No. Inflating them and deflating them. So you can actually
adjust. You can adjust the pressure as you go.
As you race. Yeah. And Mariana Vos used it, and she's like, yes. She goes, for a gravel race like this, I can see using it. For Perry Bay, could use it, for those kind of races, cobbled races and stuff too. So yeah, that's interesting technology. We'll have to look at that maybe during the winter when we have less racing to talk about. We can talk about that.
All right, sounds good. Top of the list today on the birthday list, Davide Formolo.
Yeah,
he's 32. So he and my son Taylor, they're both the same age. And when Taylor was doing some training in Italy, Davide Formolo was just coming to get signed.
Same team, I think.
Yeah, he got to do guest ride a little bit with the same team with Davide Formolo. So it's kind of interesting to follow his career. And he's number one on the list today for the PCS points from the Pro Cycling Stats. So
it was interesting to see at that point, Taylor was racing locally in Italy and regionally in Italy and winning the best young rider and doing well overall in these races and stuff too, and doing well in racing internationally in Italy. Then he went to the UCI U23 races and he's like, wow, David Formolo was like head and shoulders above everybody else, and it just, the whole races was so much harder too. It just helped to emphasize the difference in that too, but also it's easy for Taylor to see this guy is going to be good, because he was just so much better than everybody else too. So yeah, it's a whole, it's good to have perspective.
Yeah, stage winner at the Giro d'Italia. He was the national champion at Italy. He was second in Strade Bianche. Got some good second in Liège, best on Liège. Won a stage of the Volta Catalunya, so won the Veneto Classic last year. So he's got another year with Movistar, another 2 years. He signed through 2026 with Movistar, so he'll keep
having a good career for sure.
Yeah. So Mattia Cantaneo, he's second on the list. He's 34 today. He's riding for Soudal Quickstep, and I think Chris Horner mentions him as a former teammate. So they must have raced together at Lamprey, maybe. So Cantaneo, he won a stage of the Tour of Poland last year, Luxembourg a couple of years before that. Second in a stage at the Tour, second in a stage at the Giro. It must be hard to look at your list later on and say, I did these seconds and didn't get the stage.
Yeah, well, I know Max was third in the Tour twice. He won multiple stages in the Giro, but in the Tour he was, I think, third twice. And when he talks about those, I've seen the video of himself, and you can see it still irks him. Like, he's like, I just couldn't do it. I had nothing left, because usually it was in a long breakaway and they're working really hard, and yeah, it hurts him still, I think. So
sure. Well, it's like Matteo Jorgensen was second again. Well, I don't even think he was second. He was fourth that other time. He was leading on a stage and then got passed. But yeah, I think it's until he gets a stage, he's going to be really feeling that missing that getting so close and not getting that big win like that. So even though he had such a great year, I think, that's so important to get a win at the big stage. Lauren Tomeo, he's 41 today. Lawrence.
Yeah, I wished her happy birthday earlier today. She's on one of my Facebook friends and stuff too, and she lived in Asheville for a long time, and I think they still have a house there. And she was on the first women's team pursuit team that was in the Olympics, because they didn't have women's team pursuit until 2012, I think, in London. And so there's actually a movie, I don't know, Going for the Gold or something like that, and it talks about, you know, how the USA team prepared for that. And they got silver, so they didn't end up winning, but they got silver. But it was, you know, the USA Cycling hadn't put any emphasis on the team pursuiting for women ever, because they didn't have it before then. And even that year, so they were in Mallorca training at the velodrome there, and all these different people came together to try and help them without the help of USA Cycling. And then finally USA Cycling sent one person to go help them out and stuff too. And then they were second in the Olympics, and that kind of kicked off the, you know, Olympic emphasis on the women's team pursuit, and which culminated finally with a victory this year. But Lauren was part of that first effort, and so she was on that first team, and she was with UHC for a long time. So she was one of the stalwarts with UHC when they were dominating domestic racing.
All right, Stacy Barbosa, her birthday today. She's 58. Vanessa McCaffrey, 43. Just looking at the Americans celebrating on the 25th of October today, and that's like the list, what I see, and that's going to wrap it up for us, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I'm thinking of last bit nuggets here.
All right.
I have a lot of people running though right now this time of year, and I'm doing a running race tomorrow morning. Although I'm not going to race it, I'm just going to go easy. But I'm seeing so many people running now, so which is interesting, because it kind of goes in waves where cyclists will dabble in running or not dabble in running during the off season. But
Tom Pidcock can run pretty fast too, right?
Yeah, well, Van Aert, I think, too, was pretty fast too. So there's some, and he's a bigger guy, but there's
Dizzy Watt was back riding again. He'll do a limited cyclocross schedule, so that's good to see.
Yeah. I think his injuries weren't so bad. Like, they wouldn't have been season ending if it wasn't for happening so late in the season.
Right,
so
sure. All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your time up there in Michigan, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yep. Thanks so much, Dean.
All right. Thanks, Ray. Bye now.